I mean, what are you most worried about, Natasha? And what are you doing about it?
Well, I'm angry, which is how all my campaigns start, because myself and other people, charities, campaigners, have worked for 10 years to create and carve out a space in media for mental health to be discussed. And it's a topic that has historically been shrouded in stigma. And there is limited space for these issues to be discussed. And our voices have been appropriated. And this issue has been co-opted by so-called lockdown skeptics. And lockdown skepticism is, it's part of the culture war. It's a completely political ideology. I don't know what motivates it.
Nor do I, actually. I was hoping you could tell me.
So I wouldn't like to speculate. I have some theories, but probably not ones I could share on air.
Sure.
But this idea that lockdown skeptics speak for the mental health community, that they represent us, is a complete fallacy. I talk to people affected by mental health issues every day, and I don't know one person who is anti-lockdown.
No.
We understand the necessity to stop the spread of COVID-19. And it's not as straightforward as saying, oh, we lock down and mental health suffers, or we don't lock down and physical health suffers. It's much more nuanced than that. And I just feel that the space in media for mental health to be discussed would be much better used by signposting to the support that's out there or genuinely raising awareness. So I have joined together with charity leaders, campaigners, academics, experts, just to ask media to be a bit vigilant against this and to challenge lockdown skeptics when they reference mental health.
As in to say, who do you speak for, in a way, when you claim to be representing people with mental health issues?
And also to be specific, because mental health issues can mean lots of things. And there are mental illnesses that have absolutely measurably got worse during lockdown.
Yes,
Eating disorders is one of them. And we could discuss that very specifically. But when people are talking about feeling lonely or having low mood, which can affect your mental health, that's not a diagnosable mental illness. And I think it's very important that we are specific about what we mean when we're discussing these issues.
Yes. It's been very odd and not a little dispiriting, I'm sure more so for you because you work so hard in this field, to hear and read people who have previously expressed scepticism about the very existence of some mental illnesses, suggesting that, in our day we just called them naughty, or you just need to pull your socks up and buck up your ideas and you'll be fine. And they have suddenly, once suspecting sincerely, discovered a deep concern for problems that they denied the existence of up until the beginning of last year.
That's absolutely right. And that's why I've written this open letter, which people can read if they go to my Twitter _Natasha Devon. And one of the things that we've asked media to be vigilant about is people's intention, because we don't want to shut down conversations about mental health issues that have become worse in lockdown. That's the last thing we would want to achieve. But is the person speaking because they genuinely want to raise awareness or lobby for more funding and resources? Or are they speaking because their original intention is to lobby against lockdowns?
And they're reaching for any weapon they can find to make that point, regardless of whether they're being honest or not. So the point that you make, the third point in your letter on accuracy, is perhaps the most pertinent for people who do what we do for a living. Any person suggesting lockdowns have caused all additional mental health issues since the pandemic began should ideally be challenged. If there was no lockdown, COVID-19 would still be present and still be wreaking havoc in our communities. People would still fear leaving their homes or socialising, and thousands more would be affected by sickness and bereavement, which has a measurable negative impact on mental health. So I can't quite believe that I have to say these words out loud, but you have people claiming that mental health is being negatively impacted by lockdown while completely ignoring the impacts upon mental health that having a relative die might have.
And you have to take some credit for this, James, because you inspired some of my thoughts on this when you said nobody has done a prediction of the impact on things like the economy if we just followed the Great Barrington Declaration and let the virus rip through the population. And of course, there would still be economic impact. You can see that by Sweden. There would still be mental health impacts because bereavement, and people would still fear leaving their houses even if they didn't have to because of a lockdown. There would still be loneliness and isolation and sickness and sick family members, all of which have an impact on our mental health too. So presenting it in this binary way is incredibly unhelpful.
And it is generally people who use the word snowflake as a pejorative who are now discovering concern for, as I said, issues that they previously denied. It's a remarkable roster of people that you've assembled, Natasha, broken down into representatives of charities, the academics and the experts. That dreadful word again. Campaigners and service users. In other words, people with the lived experience of mental illness. Your frustrations then are widely shared. I mean, it's just that not everybody has the sort of platform that you've managed to carve for yourself over the last few years.
And it is important. I do have friends who are influential that I am able to speak for people who I know have been incredibly frustrated by this. And I also know that most people in media have good intentions. It's just sometimes when they hear the words mental health, they don't feel they have the literacy necessarily or the expertise to really dig into that conversation and ask people what they mean. And they don't necessarily understand the agendas at play. So I wanted to do something that would alert people in media to this so they can look out for it.
And you provide anyone in good faith wanting a little bit of help or guidance, you provide them with the sort of resources that they need.